Good morning, all you fabulous people. It is Good Friday, and I just wanted to do a market update before I go away for the weekend. Want to do this one, a quick one. We're gonna do just the best deals in Flesh and Blood, I think, right now. Just as a whole of cards that are kind of underappreciated and forgotten, or that were in the meta and now are kind of out of the meta, but are still good. Um, these Dragon Marvels are already starting to see a downtick, because Dromai is 4 points or 6 points away from LLing. 2 ProQuest, basically. So she's got her time clock has started. She will LL in ProQuest in a month or so. The dragons are, namely the small ones, are already starting to see a tick down. Asvalai was $20 last week. Chromai was 15. Miragai was 20. These are just gorgeous cards. They will not let these dragons sit on the sideline. I do think it may be a bit before we get another Draconic Illusionist, but these cards are too good, and I think James has too big a soft spot for these cards to let them sit on the line for too long. I will be looking at getting a playset of the rare dragons here shortly because I just traded mine away. But I think these cards are a great pickup. Under $10 once Dromai LLs. I do think there will be a purge of the market of just tons of Dromai players getting rid of some of these, or extras or playsets, that kind of stuff, and trying to trade into something else. I do think there is a good chunk of people that will just keep them as collector's items, but I do think the player side of the game will try to trade it into something else. On that kind of same note, New Prism is biggest enemy right now is Dromai, from what I understand from Sloop Dupe and some of these other Illusionist mains. It's just an abysmal matchup. The dragons they go way too wide, and with the ward, you can't really defend the angels. So I do think that the Figments are probably undervalued right now. I do think Figment of Protection is probably the fairest or market value where I see these going if they're playable. Protection probably moves up again if New Prism becomes a large segment of the market. But I do think picking these up now while she's still suppressed by Dromai is a good pickup. The Marvels all seem, a lot of them are pretty cheap. The $50 to $60 ones I think are too cheap for these. These are, in my opinion, probably my favorite cards to own. I'm missing War and Rebirth and Protection right now, but at one point I had them all. They're just gorgeous pieces to have in the collection. The Angel's playstyle also yields a really fun playstyle. I really like it. Of swapping in and protecting the Angels and trying to... And they don't have Phantasm, so that was my biggest gripe about the Dragons and Dromai, is they had Phantasm where they just get popped by a 6 attack. Without these, it yields more of you get to choose what goes versus just being at the mercy of your opponent. Dishonor spiked to like $14-15. One is on the market for $6.50. Hope somebody can pick that up. I think that's a steal. When the next one's at $12.50, go for it. Roar of the Tigers cooled off. I think you can pick up a playset of these now for a reasonable price, $21 or so. I do think this card settles around $10. I think this is a Crouching Tiger staple and will be used in pretty much every Crouching Tiger because it gives the +1 to your Crouching Tigers for the turn. The other way to do that is Art of War. I do think Art of War is a good staple. And hasn't really spiked at all, but it's always around $25 to $40 in there. So I'd get your playset of that as well if you're looking to play Tiger Zim. Tiger Swipe, similarly, $6 for one. I do think this, once again, is a card that will be in Zen. He can search for this card. It's a 0 cost 4, and then if you hit with it, you get Crouching Tigers equal to the amount of Crouching Tigers on your chain. So this could be a real good game ender, especially if you have Roar of the Tiger and Art of War out at the same time. Quickly becomes out of hand. I would pick these up now. I don't think these once again settled probably around $10 come when this is played, if not higher. Miraging Metamorph, I think, is an absolute steal right now, considering everybody's leaning towards Enigma running more of a aura-based game plan with Shimmers of Silver and Spectral Shields and that kind of stuff. This card has insane value for that game plan, and even if it doesn't get popped, it's a 1 for 7 with 3 block. This card is just bonkers. This card was being used in like Dromai when barely any of her game plan was aura based, other than maybe in the Guardian and Brute matchup. This card was being used in Prism for just the 1 for 7 at one point. This is an Everfest Majestic. I don't think it ever gets under $10. But I do think once this card becomes in a deck that's decent, this card will be $20 to $30 easy. Look at Swing Big. I know that's not quite the same because Swing Big's used in every Brute, but this is one of my favorite cards in Flesh and Blood. Really good card. Cast Bones. For a card that is pretty much spiking tournaments on super power turns, $4 for a Cast Bones is kind of nuts. This was being played in KO, which reminder for Pro Tour, KO was 50% of the top 8 bracket for Pro Tour, which is nuts. And I think every one of them at least ran 1 copy of these, and most of them ran 2. And I think one did 3 copies. This card for $4 seems like a steal. Also, really fun card. Pulse Wave Harpoon. This card is just cheap because of Mechanologist really isn't in the meta. This is a Mechanologist staple. I think it's being used in pretty much every Mechanologist deck, other maybe Teklevossen. But a 1 for 4 and you can pull cards out of your opponent's hand is really good, as well as it gives you your whole information of your opponent's hand. This is good disruption. It's a great breakpoint. It's a lot of things. And $8 for the Rainbow Foil is the cheapest I have seen it. Normally the Rainbow Foil is around $20-ish from what I've seen it, maybe $15. Mechanologist will not stay out of the meta forever. This Mechanologist has 4 current legal heroes. This is a good long-term bet in my opinion. Construct Nitro Mechanoid, very different from Pulse Wave Harpoon. I think this card is just a neat kind of collection piece. This is a box or like case hit for Dynasty, or was. I still think it's kind of a rare card to get. The Rainbow Foil is $20. We haven't quite seen a Nitro Mechanoid take off, but Max is cooking with it currently. I do think maybe in the future there's a world that this gets played and becomes kind of crazy. But keep your eye on this. This card I think is about the cheapest. I guess it got down to like $8, but this card got to like $40 during Bright Light's hype. I just think it's probably about mid where it's at now. Twinning Blade. This card is really cheap. I know this card's normally used in Dorinthia for Dawnblade. Dawnblade's not currently being really used that much. It's Hatchets and Decimator Great Axe is the main things that get in play. But Twinning Blade you may attack an additional time with a target sword. It's very good, especially in Dory once you bait out bait out a bunch of defense, and then you just say, okay, Twinning Blade, and then you get the you get the 2 attacks after the block out, or the 3 attacks, and then probably get a counter at that point. Very good card. One of the reasons to play Dory. I do think Dawnblade is kind of struggling at the moment, but this is a Crucible Majestic that's a warrior staple that's really good with swords. I don't think it stays out of the meta forever, and $10 for a playset is really good. Also, shout out to TGC Jed, good guy. Go ahead and buy from him. He's got the YouTube channel. Check him out. Glint the Quicksilver, kind of in the same vein, but Glint the Quicksilver is being used in every warrior deck right now. Gives target weapon attack go again. It's a blue. It's a block 3, and if they defend with an attack or defend with a card from hand, you get to draw a card on top of giving it go again. Very good card. With the double swing, it's hard to get the reprise. You don't get the reprise as much, I think you would like it, but it's still another go again factor, and I think that's why it's auto included. If you pitch these for second cycle as well, maybe getting your opponent down to like 5-10, you increase the odds of getting a draw card from this, and really helps you close out games. I think this is a steal. This card's always about $5, but Warrior's in the meta right now and doing very well. I think $5 for this is a more than fair price, all things considered. Carrion Husk, I pointed this out on Monday. It's still pretty darn cheap, $77. I think this card has just been forgotten about. There's no Shadow Heroes in the meta really, and just I think pretty much until proven otherwise, Shadow Heroes just want to run this as a chess piece because it's so good. So if you want to run a Shadow Hero, I think now is the time to start buying some of that stuff. They're kind of been forgotten about. I think Levy is doing pretty well, but she's overshadowed by KO at the moment. So I do think this is a good pickup. The Cold Foils is like 155. I would hold off on that one. That one really hasn't come down. Excuse me, sorry. Then Invoke Soraya. With the new Prism Pipe, I guess I should have put this at the beginning. Her suppression. I do think this is a good card. It just requires a lot more play around. And CC, it's harder. I think this card's hard to summon, which is why it's its downfall. But $9 for a Rainbow Foil Legendary, that is really a power card. I think Sloop Dupes had some success in his deck with this. I don't think this card should be ignored at $9. This is cheaper than some of the non-foil Figments, to put it in perspective over here. Like, this is the same price as a Majestic from Dusk Till Dawn. That's too cheap. Like, way too cheap. And the Cold Foil is $12. Oh my gosh, I'm going to buy like 3 of these now. Actually, once I get off, I'm going to buy the Cold Foils. These are too cheap. Way too cheap. Cold Foil Legendaries and Dynasty. And it's overshadowed by the Marvel, but if you don't have $300 lying around for a Marvel of Invoke Soraya, the Cold Foil is great because it's still Cold Foil double-sided. It just doesn't have the EAs. Pick this card up. Warmonger's Diplomacy is, I think, the cheapest it's virtually ever been, other than week 1 of its release when everybody was like, this card's trash. And then it showed up in that big event that weekend. I think it was a Battle Hardened Calling, and it shut down like so many heroes, and was a blue, and it was a block 3, and everybody was like, that was really good actually. It's now a $50 card, and it's been $45 to $50 ever since. This shuts down Azalea or Viserai or some other heroes as well. I think it's just one of the best blue block 3s you can get in the game. It's up there for staple status currently. Once again, TCG Ted, buy his. $35 for this, I think, is too cheap. This card will not stay out of the meta forever, and it does a lot of cool things. So just go ahead and pick up. These were the good steals. Thanks all for the support again. We're at 121 subscribers, I believe, as of this morning, and our views are just crazy. So thanks so much. Hope you guys have a great day and a great Easter, and just enjoy this hopefully good weather. We have some good weather coming this weekend. All right, have a good one. Happy Friday. Bye.